Hello everyone, it's Imran here. Welcome back to another video. So I'm going to be reacting to the newest audio story by Kiefer Adams, the newest audio story in his Thomas and Friends series 4 of audio stories, and this one is called Engines of Sodor's Past. This one was the newest one that was uploaded yesterday. It was. Now let me just have a look quickly. Just needed to look quickly to see what the last Kiefer Adams video I reacted to, and that last audio story from Kiefer that I did react to last week was the best twins on Sodor, the Bill, Ben, Donald, and Douglas episode. You do want to go check that out. I'll have it up in the top right corner of your screen. But this story looks like it's going to be set in Series 1, so this one's actually a follow-up to Kiefer's other audio story from Season 1 of his audio stories called Northwestern Beginnings. So, well, at least from what I can read from the description right there, it is a follow-up of Northwestern Beginning, and this is when Thomas was still new on the railway. It was right there, and was worried that he'd have a bit of trouble settling in. So, yeah, another Series 1 style story. It has been a while since we've seen a Series 1 style story from Kiefer, so great to see that, especially given the fact the last few stories, that audio stories that Kiefer has done, has been in the style from Series 5 onwards. So, yeah, great to see right here. Great to see we're having a Series 1 style story, audio story from Kiefer after a while. So, it's a follow-up to Northwestern Beginning. I wonder what Engines of Sodor Past that Edward's going to go over to Thomas. But I guess we'll just have to wait and find out. Links to the video I'm reacting to in the description down below as always. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get straight into this. Really enjoying Series 4 so far.
Engines of Sodor's Past. Written and told by Kiefer Adams.
Yep.
Edward the Blue Engine was resting in the yards near Tidmouth. He was waiting for the Fat Controller to return from Brighton,
LBC.
as he had acquired a new tank.
Let me have a look. Oh yeah, my video is still recording.
Engine requested by his father, the previous controller, Sir Charles Topham Hatt.
Yep.
Edward was just wondering what engine had been brought when an excited whistle echoed in the distance.
It's Thomas!
Right before Edward's eyes, an E2 class tank engine pulled into the yard with the Fat Controller on board its cab. The engine had 6 small wheels, a short stumpy funnel, a short stumpy boiler, and a short stumpy dome. The engine stopped next to Edward, and the Fat Controller climbed down. "Edward," he announced, "this is London, Brighton and South Coast Railways number 70, but I have named him Thomas. Please make him feel welcome." "Yes, sir,"
Yeah,
said Edward. The Fat Controller then walked away to make inspections of the yard. Thomas was excited. "Welcome to the island of Sodor," said Edward politely. "Did you enjoy your trip?" "It was wonderful," said Thomas. "Your controller was telling me all about the line. So, what are we going to do? Are we going to shunt trucks? Are we going to pull some coaches? Go out on the main line?" "Slow down," laughed Edward. "You've only just got here."
Classic Thomas vibe
"We'll
right there, when he wanted to see the world.
And then build our way up." Thomas was disappointed that he wouldn't get to do much, but he trusted Edward, and the old engine showed him around the Northwestern Railway. In the weeks that followed, Thomas was soon given a blue coat with red stripes, and his number 70 was swapped out for a number 1, as requested by Sir Charles Topham Hatt himself.
Oh, Gordon Henry
Thomas
done
worked hard, and Edward showed him what needed to be done. But Gordon and Henry still had their doubts. "You would have thought the Fat Controller would have gone for something bigger," grunted Gordon one night. "Indeed," agreed Henry. "I know Sir Charles wanted a tank engine, but I didn't think he wanted one this small." "I'm still hard-working," protested Thomas. "That," said Gordon, "is an understatement. We wanted something more reliable." "Responsible," added Henry. "And really useful," Gordon finished. "All right, you two," said Edward from the corner of the shed. "That's enough." "I'm just as hard-working as you," thundered Thomas. "At least I don't sit in the station wailing for my trucks and coaches." "You will watch your tongue around us," snapped Gordon. "I said that's enough," said Edward. "Look, We all have a busy day tomorrow. Can we please get some rest?" There was some reluctant grunts and groans from Gordon and Henry. Soon the sheds were silent, as Henry, Edward, Thomas and Gordon were fast asleep.
Ugh,
The next
did not
morning,
go too
Gordon and
well.
Henry had already left Tidmouth Sheds. Henry had his fish train, the Flying Kipper, to take, while
Yep.
Gordon had the Express. Edward was being fired up, ready for the day's work, when he noticed Thomas looking ashamed in the corner of the shed.
Doesn't
"You
feel
all right?"
too proud.
asked Edward. "I thought you'd be quite happy to start another day's worth of work." Thomas looked solemn-faced. "I'm going to be in trouble, aren't I?" he asked. "Whatever for?" chuckled Edward. Thomas explained. "Oh, don't listen to the big engines," said
He's
Edward.
worried.
I know you're working hard.
I hate it when it does that. I know why Thomas is upset. He thinks he's going to get in trouble because of the way he yelled at Gordon and Henry the previous night. I get that feeling. I get that feeling that sometimes, we try to keep our, when someone's making fun of us, we try to keep our displeasure in, but if it gets too much, it just causes us to explode, and then at that person, and then afterwards we feel amounts of regret, like Thomas is right here. He's feeling regretful about shouting at Gordon and Henry last night because he's worried he might have hurt their feelings. But that's how it is. I mean, obviously, if this person is annoying you over and over again, you're eventually going to snap, and you're eventually going to say something that, you like Thomas said, you end up saying something you'll regret and something you're not proud of, and you'll be full of regret when you calm down and realize what you've done.
Hard, and so does the Fat Controller. You wait and see. Thomas sighed. "Edward, you've been so kind and supportive to me," he said. "Did you ever have any engines to support you when you first arrived?" Edward was surprised. No one had asked him this before, but he smiled. "As a matter of fact, Thomas, yes," he replied. "There were 2 engines I remember fondly. They were still on the line when I first arrived from the Furness Railway."
Ooh.
"Please tell me about them," said Thomas. "I think we got time," smiled Edward. "I'll start with Bloomer." Bloomer, Edward continued, was a very smart...
This is from the buried truck story saga called Bloomer the Vintage Engine. I think it was Bloomer the Vintage Engine right there. He's going ahead and using one of the buried truck's OCs right here. Oh, I watched NWR 1991's adaptation of the Bloomer saga, and I really enjoyed getting a bit of a taste at Bloomer's past and his personality right there. So he's using the buried truck. Never thought I'd see Kiefer use the buried truck's OC character right there. So great to see Boomer again.
red tender engine.
I should say.
He had a
Bloomer,
large
Bloomer.
central driving wheel, and he was very proud. His coat of red paint was what the workmen called Fire Engine Red. "You see those coaches over there?"
Reference to the Fire Engine Railway series story.
Looking over to the yard. "Oh yes," said Thomas. "The Rake of Free?" "That's right," said Edward. "They were originally Bloomers. When he left the island, he let Sir Charles keep them, so that engines such as myself and Henry can take them on our suburban trains." "That was nice of him," said Thomas. "I'll never forget what Bloomer said when he left the railway," said Edward. "I had just emerged from the works, painted in the colours you see me in today. Bloomer was going to work on a heritage line. He puffed up to me, and I'll never forget what he said. "Edward," Bloomer said, "I want you to know that I'm very proud of what you've done for this railway. You've become a far greater engine than I could ever hope to be. Please make the Fat Directors Railway proud, and give credit to it." Bloomer then puffed away to his new home. "And ever since," said Edward, "I have always carried Bloomer's promise." Thomas was impressed.
It's great to hear.
"Who was the other engine?" he asked. "The other engine was Ernest," said Edward.
"Oh, Ernest!
He was a little younger than Bloomer, but just...
Have I heard of an OC character called Ernest before? If you've heard of this Ernest character right here, let me know in the comments down below, because I think I do remember hearing about a character called Ernest, but I can't remember where it was from and if he even looked like this. So please let me know in the comments down below.
Just as hard-working. When the camera was first invented, Ernest wanted to be the first engine to have his photo taken.
Imagine it all over the houses across the island,
he would brag. But I'm pleased to say that Ernest got something a lot better than a photograph.
What is
He
that?
actually had his portrait painted by a famous artist.
Ooh,
How wonderful,
even
said
better.
Thomas. Indeed, said Edward. Ernest had a big smile on his face for a week after that. I think
Don't know why
the
I'm
Fat
doing
Controller
that.
has
Sorry
a
about
portrait
that.
of Ernest in his mansion. His wife gladly picked it out.
Ooh, and the
Thomas
Fat Controller
beamed.
has it in his mansion
Ernest
as well.
was a very good working engine, said Edward. But he now lives at a museum. The museum directors who brought him often come to Sodor to tell us how he's getting on. They say he runs a small demonstration line and is happy to just settle down and rest. That's good, said Thomas.
Good to hear.
Then he noticed the Fat Controller in the yard, signalling the two engines to come and see him. Oh dear, Thomas gulped. Don't worry, whispered Edward. You'll be fine. And the two engines prepared to leave the shed. Thomas and Edward soon found themselves face to face with the Fat Controller. Good morning, sir, Thomas stammered. If it's about what I said to Gordon and Henry last night, sir, I'm really sorry, sir. The Fat Controller raised his hand. Thomas, he said, I'm not cross with you. I heard plenty of complaints this morning from the passengers. It seems Gordon and Henry have tried to give you a run for their money, but have failed miserably. I'll be speaking to them later. Thomas was pleased. I'm actually proud of the work you've done so far.
Gordon and Henry tried to do something, I guess, to try and prove to Thomas that they're really good engines, but it seems it ended in disaster for them.
said the Fat Controller. Thomas, I am appointing you to be pilot of the big station. Would you like that? Oh, yes, sir. Please, sir, whistled Thomas.
So that's how Thomas became the station pilot in the TVS.
Edward will teach you everything there is to know, said the Fat Controller. Now run along, please, and prepare Edward's goods. Thomas darted away, excited and relieved. The Fat Controller then turned to Edward. I've just acquired a Mogul tender engine from Lancashire to help you with the goods, he said. He'll be here in a few weeks.
James.
Until then, can you manage? Oh,
that's
yes,
reference
sir,
to James's beginning
Edward.
right there.
The Fat Controller beamed. He turned to go back to his car, but then looked back to Edward. Thank you for telling Thomas about Ernest and Bloomer, he said. It was so nice hearing about them again. I heard the stories from my father. Edward smiled. You're welcome, sir, he said, and he puffed away.
And that's it. Just like that, that's it. Wow, what the Northwestern beginning and this one now were definitely perfect prequels to Thomas and Gordon right there. Perfect prequel. I just love how Kiefer just continues to add and add, lore. He continues to add lore, his own lore to the TVS canon right there. He's just doing an absolute amazing job at just adding his own lore to the TVS canon right there, and how he's able to expand on it right there. So the lore that Keith is using is more of the TVS canon lore rather than the RWS lore, but it's amazing. Keith never. That's just what I love about Kiefer, because of how he he sets his audio stories like there are in certain seasons. Like this one was probably like a great prequel in series 1, a great prequel to Thomas and Gordon right there, as well as Northwestern Beginning, as well as James and the Old Coaches. Maybe Big City Thomas, the Tugs crossover that, what was I going to say, was set during series 2. Or like I said, those last few audio stories that were set during series 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 right there. Just, I'm honestly running out of words to describe how good Kiefer's audio stories are, and can't wait to see what the rest of his series 4 audio stories has to offer right here. So yeah, just keep up the good work, I guess, Kiefer. But Bloomer, I definitely remembered hearing about Bloomer from the Barry Trucks, story arc about him. But Ernest, I do remember. I do remember the name Ernest, but I can't remember if Ernest actually looked like that. So please let me know in the comments down below if you do know anything about Ernest, right? This Ernest character right here, because I can't really remember anything about Ernest in all honesty. But this was definitely a good audio story. Thought this was going to be a bit of a boring one, it was, but it wasn't. So great to know more about Sodor's lore in the TVS canon, which is what I like about Kiefer. He adds more his own lore to the TVS canon, and it's really insane, to be honest. But yeah, that's basically what I got to say. Thoroughly enjoyed this one. Great to hear. And that's, ladies and gentlemen, is how Thomas arrived on the island and how he became station pilot at Knapford. And I like a bit of foreshadowing to James's beginning right there, I think, which is Kiefer's audio story from series 2 right there. So great foreshadowing right there, Kiefer. But you do want to check out my previous Thomas reactions whenever it's an audio story or trends adaptation, and I'll have a playlist up in the top right corner of your screen right now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button for me. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this Thomas audio story I reacted to. Also let me know in the comments down below what other videos you want me to react to next. Follow me on Instagram, a link to that will be in the description down below. Share this video, subscribe if you're new here, and ring that bell to get notified when I upload new videos and when I post on the community tab. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!